Welcome to Horrible Fates, where the most unexpected and tragic endings to seemingly ordinary lives are examined. We will take some time to explore the darkness that can lurk just beneath the surface of everyday existence. Welcome to The Cellar. In today's video, you'll notice a common thread connecting each story. Each person who met their end was seemingly trapped and alone. On August 2nd, 2009, in Newport, Isle of Wight, resident Mark Wells, an aircraft fitter, celebrated his 32nd birthday with some friends. For context, Newport is the county town and administrative center of the Isle of Wight, a large island located off the south coast of England. The area is renowned for its beautiful architecture, particularly St. Thomas Square, which houses the Nash-designed Guildhall and the Minister's Church. The Isle of Wight is also famous for its charming riverside along the River Medina. A scenic walk along the Medina offers a fantastic opportunity to appreciate the town's natural beauty. Mark was a hard-working individual who worked as an aircraft fitter. An aircraft fitter, also known as an aircraft mechanic, aircraft technician, or aviation maintenance technician, is a skilled tradesperson who specializes in the assembly and maintenance of aircraft. Mark's responsibilities included working on the aircraft's frame, constructing components like wings and fuselage structures, and performing routine maintenance, repairs, and modifications as needed. After his enjoyable night out with friends, Mark soon returned home at around 1:30 a.m. As he approached his house on foot, he reached into his pocket to pull out his keys. He was about 30 feet from his front door when, in an inebriated state, the keys fell from his hands and clattered to the ground before disappearing into a 2-foot wide by 1-foot deep sewer drain. Mark cursed as he glanced into the dark sewer drain where his keys had now vanished. All he wanted to do was go home and go to bed. He could wake up a friend who had a spare key, but it was so early in the morning and he didn't want to bother anyone. His next option was just to hang out outside, but he quickly dismissed that thought. His eyes were still locked on the entrance to the drain as he decided to make an attempt to recover his keys. Mark got down on his knees and began reaching in. He stretched his arms as far as they would go, but he still couldn't grasp his keys. Not thinking clearly, he pushed himself farther into the drain. Soon, he would come to a realization that he had made a big mistake. Mark still couldn't get to his keys, so he tried backing out of the narrow hole, but as he did, his body became wedged and he simply couldn't free himself. He panicked and tried harder and harder to forcefully exit the drain, but a large portion of his body was now stuck and he couldn't get leverage enough to find freedom. After numerous efforts to get free, Mark then did the only thing he could think of. He started screaming for help. His cries echoed through the neighborhood, eventually waking up those sound asleep in their homes. Numerous residents heard Mark crying out, but not a single person did anything about it. Most residents thought it was just some drunk outside making a lot of noise. No one took Mark's yelling as serious. And this may be the most tragic aspect of this entire story, a real commentary on how the world is nowadays. The cries for help persisted for a while before eventually ceasing altogether. The sun would soon emerge, signaling the world's awakening. Brian Gray, as usual, rose early that morning. He stepped out of his home and began his daily walk. As he traversed the footpath near Robin Hood Street, he made an astonishing discovery. Initially, uncertain about what he was seeing, the truth became increasingly evident. There, before him, lay a pair of legs protruding from the drain. Startled, Brian approached the man and attempted to offer assistance. However, the man wedged in was motionless and silent. Brian promptly called for help, and soon The police and fire department arrived at the scene. Emergency responders arrived swiftly and surveyed Mark's body. They checked for any signs of life, and there simply weren't any. At that point, all that was left to do was get Mark's body out of there. It wasn't easy. In fact, it took a lot of effort. The fire department had to remove the pavement and drain itself to free Mark. Once freed, Mark's body was taken for an autopsy. The postmortem exam revealed that he had succumbed to postural asphyxia. Postural asphyxia, also known as positional asphyxia, occurs when a person's body position impedes their ability to breathe, leading to suffocation. This can happen when the body's position prevents chest expansion or airway access. Reports indicated that his position was the primary cause of his death. However, it was also noted that he had suffocated in the mud and slime at the bottom of the drain. In the end, I can't even fathom the horror of being in Mark's situation. His final moments must have been terrifying. To make matters worse, numerous neighbors were interviewed, and they all reported hearing his cries for help. Yet not a single person lifted a finger or even called to report the situation. If someone had done anything at all, then perhaps Mark would still be alive. It's difficult to say for sure, but in the end, it only makes the story even more tragic in every way. As always, I want to take a quick moment to send my deepest condolences to all of Mark Wells' family and friends. Cartmel, a picturesque village nestled within the Furness region of Cumbria, England, is situated on the Cartmel Peninsula. The village's name derives from the peninsula, and it was historically known as Kirkby in Cartmel. Cartmel is renowned for its charming architecture, featuring lime-washed and stone-built dwellings, shops, and pubs. Today's story takes us to Haggs Lane, where 74-year-old William Edward Leah resided. Unfortunately, there's limited information available about William, so we'll proceed to the events that unfolded on April 18, 2012. According to those reports, William had recently had work done on the drains around his home. During his communication with the contractors, they informed him that further examination of the drains was necessary. They recommended installing a CCTV camera to inspect the drains further. Following this exchange, William decided to instead inspect the drains himself. He stepped outside and approached a manhole cover. He removed the cover and set it aside before peering down into the dark depths. Now, it's unclear whether William fell or if he intentionally entered the drain. However, he soon found himself in a terrifying situation, upside down, inside the manhole, and completely stuck. As blood rushed to his head, William panicked and flailed desperately to free himself. He started screaming for help, but there was no one around to hear his cries. William struggled and yelled endlessly, but help did not come. Days would soon pass before William was finally discovered. By the time he was found and pulled from the manhole, it was too late. An autopsy revealed that William had succumbed to asphyxiation. However, the horror intensified when it was discovered that he had been alive in that hole for several days before his passing. In the end, I can't fathom being in such a terrifying situation, let alone being trapped in that position for days on end. No one, and I mean no one, should have to endure such a horrific set of final days on this earth. I want to send my deepest condolences to all of William's family and friends. Sheboygan, Wisconsin, a city nestled on the western shore of Lake Michigan, exudes a unique charm. Located approximately 50 miles north of Milwaukee and 64 miles south of Green Bay, Sheboygan serves as the county seat of Sheboygan County. Renowned as the Malibu of the Midwest, Sheboygan is celebrated for its vibrant freshwater surfing scene on Lake Michigan. Beyond its surfing allure, Sheboygan is affectionately known as the bratwurst capital of the world. This culinary gem takes its bratwurst seriously, offering a distinct local preparation and serving style that sets itself apart. With its picturesque beaches and direct access to Lake Michigan, the area provides ample opportunities for fishing, sailing, and water sports enthusiasts. It was June 6, 2007. Chris Van Arum was tinkering around his home in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. As he did, he soon caught a glimpse of a large man messing around by the storm sewer drain. Chris watched as the man pulled the iron gate off the drain and began looking inside. The man must have dropped something, Chris thought, as he continued to observe. Then, it happened. As the man kneeled down and continued looking inside the drain, he fell headfirst. Chris was shocked by what he saw and immediately ran from his home to help the man, who was now kicking and thrashing. Chris attempted to grab a hold of the man and pull him from the sewer drain, but he wouldn't budge. At the same time, a kid that was playing up the street came running in their direction. The kid asked to help, and Chris informed the young boy to immediately call the police. Chris continued to try and pull the man free, but he was just too far wedged in. As Chris anxiously waited for the police and fire department to arrive, the man's legs slowly stopped kicking. When firefighters did pull up, they found the man trapped inside the storm drain, his head and shoulders submerged in water. He was motionless and hadn't moved for some time. Despite EMS's best efforts, it was too late to save him. The man had fallen in, and his head and shoulders were quickly submerged. As he struggled desperately, he ran out of oxygen and drowned inside the storm drain. As with the prior stories, I can't imagine the panic and fear that this man felt in his final moments. No one should have to experience that right before leaving this world. As always, I want to send my condolences to all of this man's family and friends. Christiana, a charming community nestled in Rutherford County, Tennessee, is renowned for its rural charm and close proximity to Murfreesboro. Located on the southernmost edge of Rutherford County, between Murfreesboro and Shelbyville, Christiana boasts a picturesque countryside with rolling hills and expansive open fields. This idyllic setting offers a peaceful and quiet lifestyle, emphasizing tranquility and small-town charm. With a population of 4,305 residents, Christiana is a welcoming community where neighbors come together to support one another. On May 8, 2024, the community of Christiana was facing the destructive powers of Mother Nature herself. 10-year-old Asher Sullivan, along with his family and neighbors, united to assist one another in clearing debris and assessing the damage caused by the recent severe weather that had ravaged the area. Their collective efforts showcase the spirit of unity and compassion that permeates Christiana as they work together to rebuild and restore. Asher, a remarkable young man, accomplished exceptional feats at a young age. At just 10 years old, he had already visited all 50 states within the U.S., 4 different countries, and played every sport imaginable. Beyond his athletic achievements, Asher was a kind and gentle soul who loved everyone. He was highly motivated and, along with his father, shared a playful nickname, Squirrel and Papa Squirrel, due to their constant on-the-go nature and inability to focus on just one thing. As everyone gathered and began clearing debris and damage, tragedy would strike. The severe weather had caused not only significant damage, but also a massive amount of water flowing through the streets. This water was deceptively fast and strong, constantly pulling items into the neighborhood's network of storm drains. 10-year-old Asher didn't see it coming as the current tugged at his legs, causing him to slip and be pulled towards one of the open sewer storm drains. Before anyone around him could react, the boy vanished beneath the surface, out of sight and into the raging waters below the earth. Family and friends frantically searched and tried to find a way to locate Asher. The police and fire department were soon called, and the search for the missing young man began. Within due time, Asher emerged from one of the storm drain's drainage ditches. He was rushed to a nearby hospital where paramedics managed to regain a pulse. Doctors conducted various tests to assess the extent of the damage. Asher had been without oxygen for an extended period, and after the tests were done, it became evident that he would not recover. On Saturday, May 18th at 1:20 p.m., after 10 days in the hospital, Asher Sullivan passed away, surrounded by his family. In the end, his family had made the difficult decision to donate his organs, and this selfless sacrifice ultimately saved the lives of 4 individuals. This story is heartbreaking, but I really wanted to emphasize how incredible a life this young man had. I also felt it was important to highlight the lives that he saved after he passed on. As always, I want to send my deepest condolences to all of Asher's family and friends. A big thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in to another episode. If you enjoy the content that I make here on the channel, then please hit that like and subscribe button. YouTube seems to be suppressing my channel as of late, so a simple like and comment would go a long way in helping the algorithm push my video. Also, you can check the description box in every one of my videos and find the link to my merch store and a link to the membership tier for the channel. For only $2.99 a month, you can help support my channel further, and you get some cool perks to go with it. One of those perks is having your name listed here in the end of each of my videos. So a real big thank you to each and every one of my Cellar Dweller members. Also, if you'd like to submit any kind of story, please do so using the email that is linked in the description box below. As always, I do all the research, writing, recording, and editing for the channel myself, so anything you do to help support the channel is greatly appreciated. And until next time, I will see you all again when we head back into the cellar.